Hello everybody, my name is Freddie and I am Vice President of the China office for Holland Park. So I'm currently in London at the moment, and what I'm doing for you is I'm helping make sure that all of the teachers which we source and find for you as online tutors are fantastic. And what we're trying to do with that is to make sure that they both understand the cultural differences of what it means to teach a Chinese student and the different language, the differences in language that make them even better, but also that they are trained fully on how to use the technology online so that the class is engaging, is right for your student, and that it makes sure that they can really achieve the top results which you have for them. So I've been in China for 6 years. I first moved to Beijing after finishing university in the UK. I quickly started tutoring on the side and found that Chinese students are fantastically hardworking. Perhaps what they need most support is the sort of all-rounded strategy to make sure that they can achieve the top results and that they develop as human beings and well-rounded students with a whole profile, not just focusing on the exams and the technique too early. So normally what I do is we'd make long-term plans per family, looking at, again, how you can develop the student all round and how we can make a plan which is suited to them and can hit their goals, but also realistic goals and not promising what can't be achieved, but also looking towards their long-term future and working back from that so that they're hitting what they need to hit at the right time. So our philosophy with Holland Park Online Tuition is really to make sure that we source the top tutors here, but also that they're prepared to teach online. And we know with the Chinese market is extremely demanding. Now to get into a top UK school is extremely competitive. And I think Chinese students need to understand that it's not about hitting a certain grade like it is at GCSE or A-level. You're competing against each other, which sounds difficult, but it means if you do want to get into your Westminster, your Eton, your Wickham Abbey, you've really got to perform at fantastic rates really early. And that's no easy feat. So to support families to make sure that this is achievable, we find the right teachers. We then train the teachers to make sure that they're adept at teaching online, making sure that their classes are as engaging, if not more, online as they are offline. We also make sure that they understand the cultural and linguistic differences of teaching Chinese students. So for example, explaining to them how the Chinese language functions, there's no tenses, there are not many masculine and feminines, so making sure that they understand when a child is making a mistake, it's for a certain reason and what to focus on. And also the cultural differences, which means that they can adapt their lessons to make it as interesting for the student as possible, while also respecting the Chinese culture. So we train the teachers as well as source them, and then we make sure with our study progress advisors who work with the teachers that the students have realistic long-term plans. Parents are kept up to date every lesson, and students are assessed after every 25 hours of lessons, really quite strictly assessed to make sure that they are hitting the goals that are set for them. And if they're not hitting those goals, we have discussion with the teacher and the student and the parents and make sure that we have found out why and address that. But mostly they do hit the goals, and we look towards constantly increasing where they're setting that mark and making sure that every child who we work with really can achieve what is the best possible outcome for them, be that getting top grades at GCSE and A-level while they're remaining at international school in China, or whether that's entering the UK schooling system at prep school, middle school, or even at university, and making sure they're getting the best marks there. And lastly, we're just trying to prepare them as human beings, which means before they're entering UK schools or UK universities, they've developed a bit of a cultural knowledge of the UK, and they're confident in themselves, they're sociable, they're ready to talk to people in Britain, so that when they join the schools, they're not only academically ready, but they're socially ready and culturally ready, so that they can really thrive and get the most out of the experience, just as the UK kids are as well. The reason why Holland Park has gone online is for a few reasons. Firstly, the supply of teachers on the ground in China, the standard has slowly decreased as it's become a lot less common for teachers to travel to China, and the demand has increased hugely. There's now hundreds of international schools in China and hundreds and thousands of schools in China which do international curriculum. And there aren't enough on-the-ground teachers in Beijing, Shanghai, let alone the second-tier cities like Qingdao, Guangzhou, Zhejiang. So we turned online because we really believe the best teachers are the teachers who are based in the UK. These are teachers who are experienced, with 20 years teaching experience, teaching the very best in London. It's extremely competitive here to get into the top schools, and so they really are adept at understanding that highly pressurized environment and being able to get students to do the very best to get into the top schools. So that's why we've gone online, to sort of find the best teachers. And we also believe the way the world's changing, that being able to learn online is the future. Being able to learn via a computer and understand something visually, working with someone simultaneously is the future. So understanding it now is fantastic. Most of the exams are turning to online themselves. UCASET, which is an exam which you prepare to go to the UK schools at 13 plus, is now entirely online. So it also makes sense to start shifting our learning online as all the exams and general work is shifting online too. So our pledge as a company, we've been doing this for 15 years. Online education is new to China, but we're not just connecting parents with any native speakers. And our pledge is that students and families in China will get the best teacher and the same standard of teacher that we give our clients in London, in Knightsbridge or in Holland Park where we're based now, as they can get in their living room or in their child's study all across China. And the same standards are kept, the same assessment rates are held, and we make sure all of our teachers are held to the same accountability and students make the same progress, if not more, online in China as they do face-to-face in London.